I'm actually running into a lot of people who are atheists, but at the same time very, very stupid. You know,
Yeah.
and I know what you're going to say, but I'm just going to qualify my statement by saying that you would think that when someone comes out of gets himself out of a religion, you would think that he's given a lot of thought into his worldview, and he has changed his opinion or worldview based on some strong thinking. That's what you would imagine. I can imagine that if you are born into an atheist household, and then like your parents were atheists, and you just by pure virtue of getting born in an atheist household, you're an atheist. Then you probably have never thought about these questions like morality and where does it come from, how we ought to behave, and blah blah blah. You might have your own. So then you could be. I could forgive you for being stupid on something as basic as this. But Shakil is a Muslim name, so I'm assuming that he probably was born a Muslim, and then he revisited his worldview, and then to think that, because I know Dawkins has written and even spoken a lot about it, that yes, the natural world is run by Darwinian evolution, but we don't run our societies based on that. We just don't. I mean, any basic entry level person who used to be a religionist and then became an atheist, he would understand that point. But then why? But I'm running into a lot of these atheists who are just very
It's
stupid.
it's kind of like you say, like, oh, evolution is a fact, so our societies has to be based on the metaphoric goals of evolution. It's so dumb. It's almost like saying, it's almost like as if I come across Harris and I just push him to the ground and he falls and he looks at me like, why are you pushing me to the ground, Armin? I'm like, because gravity, the theory of gravity, everything has to
It's
fall.
real.
Like, do you not believe in gravity?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. But do you think that, I've been thinking a lot about it, but do you think as a society we are, again, this is not to say that only religion can do it, but religion for a very long time, for right or wrong reason, or for even through misinterpretation or whatnot, religion for a very long time succeeded in keeping people in line. When we get rid of religion, we are collectively or morally we're becoming more um our morality is getting very arbitrary. I would say you would think that like you have good moral philosophers and thinkers, and they would tell you like, okay, this is we ought to behave, like we need to give we need to empower our women or whatever. But then someone stupid like Andrew Tate, he can come, and then he can capitalize on this rudderless free society, and he can say, well, wait a second, religions are wrong, Christianity is wrong, let me tell you, this is how you ought to behave, just purely out of his charisma or whatever. And then he can infect so many minds. But if let's say we were in Saudi Arabia, or the world run by the church, people like Andrew Tate would not have been that influential to infect people. What do you think about that? I'm thinking a
Yeah.
lot about it.
No, yeah, there is a gap. There's obviously society is changing so fast, okay, and the institutions and the traditions that we are destroying for good reasons, we're not doing a very good job at filling those gaps that we're destroying, and and there's a silver lining though to people like Andrew Tate, okay, because it's um, it is hard for us to notice what's missing when these institutions are being destroyed and when these traditions are being destroyed, because political science and social sciences are not like math and or chemistry or even biology, where you could look things under a microscope, or where you can come up with the rules like in physics or in math. You cannot come up with, like, you can't do tests, right? So it's very hard to pinpoint exactly what is being removed and what needs to be replaced and what rules are like. So you need to listen to the science. You need to look for the science for society to scream at you that, oh my god, there's a problem here. That's the only way you could do it, because you can't run tests, right? And Andrew Tate is that that scream, that red alarm, right? So as much as destructive as Andrew Tate is, it is signaling a need that is missing. So it is, for I think one good thing that could come out of Andrew Tate is the fact that we have a lot of people are noticing. Like if you notice the reaction out of the many content creators online and many other analysts is like, okay, screw Andrew Tate, but what do we have for young men? Because young men in the past couple of decades have been left behind. Okay, we have done in the past couple of decades, we have done a very good job at making a lot of progress. Or like, okay, what about women? Okay, what about, I don't know, black people? What about trans people? What about gay people? What about somebody like, what about this? What about that? What about that? We did these people who were people who were in society who were left behind. We made a lot of progress in correcting those people who were left behind. But in that emphasis and focus on all these other groups that have been left behind, the people who used to be ahead are now being so ignored that they are now left behind. Okay, and this is not an invitation to stop focusing on women's rights, on gay rights, on black rights. You should continue doing all those things. Okay, but it should not come at the expense at not paying attention to men's needs. Okay, because men are half of the planet. Okay, and going forward, it's going to be worse. Okay, because as much as women are going to be such a much more influential part of society going into the future, and they're going to become a lot more powerful. Okay, and they're going to take a lot of men's roles. Okay, but one thing they cannot take is being a father. Okay, and if you keep taking roles away from men's one thing that is true, and this is not something that I'm saying out of based on no studies and anything, like this is one thing that is true about many men, not about all men, is a lot of their depression, a lot of their sense of meaning, a lot of their sense of worth, and all of these things is tied to being able to do something for somebody, for society. Okay, being worthy for of
I think I got your
having
point, but
some sense of worth. But no, but here's this is the key point. Okay, women being influential in society is because a lot of it is because they need to regain the control that they have lost. Okay, it's because of financial income. Okay, but for a lot of men, not all men, having a job, being influential in society is not just because they need to live. It's also a source of meaning. Okay, and taking that away from men has caused a mass wave of depression and anxiety. Okay, and men who are depressed, alone, and anxious, it has a cyclical effect, because they are going to be horrible fathers, and horrible fathers who are not there for their sons are going to create more alone, depressed, anxious men who are also going to turn
yeah, but do you think
bad fathers again.
Yeah, no, I get that point. I mean, this is how it should be. But I get a little bit depressed when I look at some of these studies and things like everything is falling apart. Like, I mean, it would take 100 years it would take 2,000 years to abolish slavery. It'll take us, like, after Enlightenment, it'll take us 300 years to give equal rights to non-whites and women, and like civil rights movement, etc. But now things are changing so rapidly that I think that we're just not coming up with solutions fast enough. It's kind of like when you when you think that you've understood crypto, NFT comes along, and then even some of the most advanced countries, even they can't catch up. So same on the social issues. So now you said that, okay, we need to see this, we need to see science, and we need to see biology, and then we need to come up with solutions. Obviously, but traditions and religions, as totalitarian. Sorry, let me start again. As bad as those religious traditions were, but because of the totalitarian nature of it, it kept people in line. Now, obviously, women suffered. No, that's not fair either. Obviously, weaker people suffered. That's not right either. Like there was brutality in those cultures. So it's good that we got rid of that. But now I think that collectively we're so freaking stupid. can we afford to have a rudderless, totally free society? I mean, this is what's bugging me.
We have no choice. We have no choice. I mean, these things. Okay, so a lot of people are thinking about what you're thinking, Harris, but this is not something that we are deciding. Like, oh, should we go this way or should we go that way? Okay, this is a train that is coming at you. We have to decide how we could react to it. You cannot redirect the train. This is a force of nature. This is a force of like.
This is what I
kinda,
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, carry on.
It's
Finish your
happening.
thought. Finish your thought. No, finish your thought.
Like kind of, for example, like when we had the Industrial Revolution, right? The nature of the Industrial Revolution and the effects that it had on the economy changed the family model from the extended family to the nuclear family. Okay, this was not like, this is a forced reaction to a change of how humans live. It's not people are like, oh, like a couple of people deciding like, extended family doesn't seem to work with this model anymore. Let's go nuclear. Like, these are not decisions society can make. This is just something that will happen to society. You either realize it and try to adjust to it, or you get crushed by the train. You either get on the train or you
evolve. Society will evolve by itself. We just have to trust this moral zeitgeist that we would come up with solutions. This is what I've always believed in, even when I was going through this phase. But as I said, like it is very depressing to see, like what Sarah was just saying. This whole Andrew Tate phenomena is so pathetic that I say it took so long to empower women, to drag them out of their houses and educate them. And then I understand people like Hikikachu, they come from Islamic worldview that, oh, if you empower women, then they're gonna, I get that we've got a very good argument developed against those kind of people. So Hikikachu himself is nothing. He's coming up with Islam and hijabs and all these guys that say, no, do not empower women, because if you empower them, then they will take over and they will not listen to you. So, okay, we've got ideas and we've been incrementally improving women's lives. But then someone like Andrew Tate comes along. No baggage of tradition or culture or whatever. Seemingly a lot of people, if these conservatives were not so stupid, they would have used him against atheists. They would have said, look, this is what happens in a free society. Like if you allow, that's what they should have used. But but he played it so cleverly that he captivated the conservative audience to make matters worse, even Muslims. This is how everyone is so stupid on all sides of the spectrum. So but that would have been that's how they should have played out. They should have said, look, this is what happens, degeneracy, cam girls, OnlyFans, sex, blah blah blah. But someone like Andrew Tate, at the end of it, he comes along and he infects and pollutes the minds of millions. Who knows what's going to come out? We're trying to deal with one Andrew Tate. It scares me when I think about, what if 10 years from today or 20 years from today, some of the guys who are inspired by him, what's going to happen, man? We just don't know. Like, this is scary. I could just hope for, like, it'll blow away, people will forget about him, and then the better sense will prevail at the end. But this is very scary. Religion or something else would have been a lot stronger to counter someone like Andrew Tate. But there's so much disarray, even in the religious ranks, that even they have given up. Even they don't know what's going on.
Well, one positive thing to think about is that I don't think the non-religious community would have been so quick to accept Andrew Tate. So, like, if you look at the religious community, is very tribal, right? Like, they're like, this is one of us, we defend him. But one good thing about, like, for example, imagine Andrew Tate was a Christian or a Muslim before, okay, and then he came out as an atheist. He came out as imagine Andrew Tate was a Muslim, and he came out as an ex-Muslim, as an anti-Islamic, come out like Islam is horrible. I used to be a Muslim, now I'm an ex-Muslim. And then he was arrested, and then all of these recordings will come out. Okay, me and you would not be defending him right now. Okay, and I don't think Apostle Prophet would be defending him. I don't think Muhammad Sayyid would have defended him. I don't think Sarah Haider would have defended him. I don't think Ali Rizvi would have defended him. I don't think who else? Wait, I don't.
Not even his ex-Muslim. I think the bigger atheist community would not have defended him either. I think you're right on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I don't think a friendly Muslim would have defended him. I don't think any of the atheist cosmic skeptic. I don't think Matt Dillon. None of us would be defending him. I'm like, screw him. Like, oh, but he's an atheist. He's an ex-Muslim. He's one of you guys. We were like, screw him. Throw him in jail. Like, lock decrees and like lose it. Like I mean, I don't want to be tribal in saying that we're not tribal, because like, oh, look at us, we're so non-tribal, okay? Because we do have
a tribe of untribalistic people.
Yeah, I don't want to celebrate us too much, because we have a lot of problems. Like, we have a lot of bigotry among atheists. We have a lot of problems, okay? But one thing one good thing is that we don't have is that we don't just defend each other just because we belong to this group. Like, we are very self-critical, and I think that's, going forward, that's, this lack of tribalism is going to make the world a better place. And that's what Andrew Tate realizes. The modern world has less tribalism. So for him to get a group of blind followers to just defend him no matter what he does, he has to go backwards. He has to go back to tradition. He has to join one of these tribes so that he gets an undeserving loyalty from them. So going forward, we're getting less of that. Modernity is less of that. And that's a good thing. So let's look at like some good things that this happening to the world. Yeah. To have your questions answered on the next live stream, become my patron today. You can do so with as little as $1 a month. Link in the description below.